Yo, what is up? This is the newest Fantech Helios 2 Pro S, the continuation of the very successful Helios 2 Pro that came out end of 2023. Now, I reviewed the original Helios 2 Pro back in January, and to make the long story short, I would summarize it this way. I had a overall positive experience, but the mouse did have a weak, weak TTC optical switches that made an unpleasant hollow sound, I would say. Now, this is not to say that they were bad, but for someone who plays with a lot of mice, it's easy for me to compare what sounds or feels nicer. If the Helios 2 Pro, the old one, is the only mouse that you have, I don't think you would really be bothered by this. The other thing I wasn't really a fan of were the skates, but about 95% of stock skates out there are kind of like suboptimal, with the exception of maybe Lamzu and the Razer Viper V3 Pro. With that long-winded intro, let's jump into it. Now, I even whipped out my Fantech $3 mousepad, which I got in 2020 to replace my really honestly garbage QC case that didn't even last more than a year each. I just searched for the cheapest mousepad out there, and this came up the top of the search, and as you can see, it is well used. And even back then, I was using my mouse pads upside down. You can see the wear here and here. Sometimes I had it right side up, as you can see some wear here as well. That's really interesting. Now, why does this matter, you ask? Well, this is to illustrate the longevity of the Fantech brand and how far they've come as a peripheral company, from a $3 mousepad to a Brand of the Year award in 2023. But of course, 2023 was the year they came out with the Aria XD7, that legendary budget mouse everybody loved, so that's no surprise. But today, the Helios 2 Pro S joins a sea of mice that is really crowding this $90 space, and it's going to be competing directly with bigger brands like Lamzu and Pulsar. So I want to talk about the battery and cleanliness is what I normally start off my videos with, so I'll talk about that a little bit. On the old Helios, it was about 2 days on 4K, which is, in my books, is about 30 hours before you get a recharge. I also remember that the recharging took longer than 2 hours. I think it took something like 3 hours, and that was a little bit frustrating. I cannot get an accurate number out of this mouse yet. The reason is because I've been jumping through a lot of mice in the last month, back and forth, so I did not main the mouse for more than 1 or 2 days at a time. So I cannot get an accurate reading, but I can definitely tell you that it is more than 2 days on 4K. So I don't know if that's helpful to anyone, but you can see there's a little bit of dirt build up on where the ring finger, pinky finger rests there. But other than that, the rest of the mouse looks pretty damn clean. There's no oil smudges, there's no residual sweat and stuff stuck to the mouse, which means this coating is pretty good dirt resistance. That's my opinion so far. But let's get straight to the shape and size. This is a pure medium-sized mouse, supposedly a 1-to-1 clone of the S2. I don't have the S2, so I can't confirm that, but that's to say the grip width is about 55-56 millimeters measured from the sensor. Everything about the shape and size is the same with the old Helios 2 Pro. It's a slightly narrower grip than the G Pro Superlight. The G Pro Superlight is 59 millimeters. This is 55-56. And the side grips also have kind of like a V-shaped cut to them versus the G Pro Superlight, which is more like kind of flat sides, right? But this, you can clearly see there is a V-shaped cut around it. Yeah, you do get a rear concentrated hump, but it is not, I would say, a aggressive rear hump. It is a mild rear hump, but when you compare to G Pro Superlight kind of hump, you can clearly see that this is kind of like more meat at the butt cheeks, while the G Pro Superlight is more pointed. I don't know if you can pick that up. So you can see there's more meat here, and the G Pro Superlight is less. So you definitely feel a little bit more contact on the fleshy parts of your palm when you grip it that way. So you feel it here. That's what I wanted to say. Next up is the build quality. It is nothing short of flawless. Everything is tight. Everything is in its place. The box is pretty. It even has images of the mouse laminated on 3 sides of the box, giving it like kind of like a premium look. You can see a lot of design on the box, some Chinese or Japanese kanji. Really nice looking packaging. You know, I'm not you know, it's got that premium aesthetic. Although I prefer a simple box, I'm not opposed to companies wanting to elevate their brand with a fancier looking box. Now this mouse is supposed to be 55 grams, but on my copy it is 58.6 grams. This is identical to the G Pro Superlight without the puck and the dongle, exactly the same weight. The coating to me is a 1-to-1 copy of the Endgame gear. Now it's possible that this is an anomaly and I got this extra grippy copy, but it is substantially more aggressive than regular coatings. I have to rate it the same as an Endgame gear and Viper V3 Pro. This means if coating is important to you, then this is going to be second to none. The buttons on the Helios 2 Pro S has been refreshed with Huano transparent blue shell pink dots, and this upgrade takes this mouse to a new level. The old Helios had bad clicks that sounded like, you know, a Lamzuthon. That's not to say the Lamzuthon sounds bad, but you know, if, like I mentioned earlier, if you have a lot of mice, you can tell the nuances. You can see the difference between each mouse, and the Thorn is like the G Pro Superlight Optical's kind of hollow sounding clicks, if that's what it means. These new Huanos are significantly better sounding, crispier, more tactile. It's just better everything, and this is going to appeal to people who want a better, precise, tactile kind of feedback. I'd give the M1 and M2 a solid 8.5, and I think for some people, or even for most people, this could be a 9 or 9.5. The scroll wheel is the F switch, a kind of loudish scroll wheel with very well defined bumps and very good balance of smooth and tactility. My side buttons have a healthy amount of pre-travel, even bordering on being mushy. Imagine the G Pro Superlight side buttons, but with higher tensioning. That's how I feel about it. It's not the greatest, but it's not as polarizing as the G Pro Superlight either. I have been informed that the stock PTFE feet are the same ones from the Helios 2 Pro, so I do expect these will degrade fairly over time. Although I've had this mouse for well over 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks now, I have truthfully only had 1 week or so of use with it, so it's not enough for me to sufficiently degrade the PTFE feed to a point that I can no longer use it. But the PTFE feed on the Helios that I did review in January was not what I would describe as optimal. For long-term use, I would suggest you prepare an aftermarket replacement once you reach that point. Now let's talk about performance. I've got 2 personal bests on Kovacs in quick succession in the first 2 days of using this mouse. Around this timeline, like I mentioned, I was juggling 9 mouse pads and 7 different mice. So to even have any kind of personal best is really difficult because I'm changing up so many variables that it's impossible for me to get any kind of consistency. With that being said, I'm really impressed how good this mouse is, and even more impressed that they have made an already very good mouse even better. I have no doubt that the Helios 2 Pro S is going to get some strong following. The biggest challenge for Fantech right now is there is a barrage of very good mice out there coming out all at once and challenging for the brand of the year throne, to be honest with you. The last bit of news is I want to talk about the value. At $95, you are getting a 4K dongle included in the box, and overall a better experience than the old Helios 2 Pro. I think it's great value, but the problem I mentioned is Chinese brands are undercutting brands like Fantech with similar products for, I don't know, $20, $10 cheaper. So, you know, you got to think about that. I do like the Fantech Helios 2 Pro S very much. Once again, thank you to Vincentis Giraldi for sending this one out. Go follow him on Twitter at VGRLDI for all the scoops on Fantech. I keep forgetting to shout out all the generous brands that provide samples. I want to say I appreciate your support and I never take my opportunities for granted. So thank you guys very much, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye bye.